Hi, myself Sahifa Pradhan, Assistant Professor from the Department of Architecture, Institute BLDA Technical Campus, Vijaypura. Today, I'm going to take a topic from the subject Materials and Methods in Building Construction 3. If you could see this image, I hope you could analyze or recognize what the topic might be. If you don't, let me tell you it's about the flooring. So all three different images outcome is flooring, but if you could see, the material is different, the process is different, the way pattern has emerged out, that is different. See, coming for the first image, if you could see the material which is used, it could be easily understand if you have gone through some rural areas like villages and all. They use cow dung for the flooring as well as for the exterior and interior walls, which keeps their house like as based on the outside temperature. It will thermalize them. In terms, if it is winter, it keeps them very cold, very warm inside. If it is summer, very cold inside. So it balances the nature with respect to the build. In the second image, similarly, they have used a upgraded technique along like just adding up a little transition in the way they go for the flooring. That is nothing but from the cow dung they have replaced it to a mud or a soil. Similarly, in the third image, if you could see, there are certain pattern or the kind of outcome is very different. You could notice it's all about the type. The different pattern you could find, different type of uh, material is there, which is again different from the first two images. Then the finishing output, how it differs from the rural area to the urban area. Either it can be used with respect to interior space or the outdoor spaces, indoor spaces and outdoor spaces, which goes with respect to flooring. Then the tile pattern, if you could observe, then the texture what it is there, the finishing, it completely changes. In the same way, we are going to study about what basic flooring is, what are the different types of flooring, what are the characteristics. So these are the three things which we observe or which we learn in this uh, topic. Now, going understanding the term floor. What is floor? Floor is nothing but the bottom surface for room or vehicle. Bottom surface in the sense where we walk, that is floor. If you look above, that is slab, but if you stand over it, it's a floor. Now coming, what are the materials used? There are different materials how a floor is mm, constructed. But what's the main purpose? To support, to take a load, to give a surface where a person can walk, to give a proper movement, that is horizontal movement. That is nothing but everything happens on a floor. What are the materials? It can be stone, wood, bamboo, metal in terms of bridges or some very heavy structures. If you consider metal as a floor, you could also observe in lift kind of structure. It moves vertically, but still you have a floor where you can stand. Then the levels of a buildings are often referred to floor. As an architecture student, if you do any built design, considering from a residence or housing, apartment, hotel, you give every floor level, ground floor level, first floor level. That is nothing but floor. In the same way, why what floor typically consists of? It consists of subfloors. That is nothing but different level. Why? For the support. Now, basic the purpose of floor is to give a walking surface. That is nothing but what the coverage is there. Floor coverage is nothing but where we walk. In the same way, what are the added parameters in modern buildings with respect to the floor, subfloors? If you go like one level to another level, that is nothing but from one floor to another floor. What is the different parameter? As I've said you, if you see above, it's a slab. If you stand over it, it's a floor. But the next added parameters with respect to the services, electrical wiring, then plumbing, other services like air conditioning, duct lines. These everything happens below the floor, where all these safety consideration happens with respect to national building codes. So below the floor, all these lines will be running: electrical line, plumbing line, service line. If you could observe your fan, your tube light, in your AC unit, ceiling light. So whatever the electrical things are there, you could find it below the floor. In the same way, the pipelines, it goes along with your floor. These are nothing but the basic features how a floor consists of, out of materials, what support is there, what are the other services it caters to with respect to some building codes. The term flooring. Flooring is a general term for a permanent covering of a floor, or for the work of installing such a floor covering. What are the materials which are classified as flooring? If we could see, it's a carpet, laminate, tile, vinyl. So flooring is nothing but whatever it's covered on a floor. Floor, as we already studied, it's a walking surface. So whatever the area is covered over the floor, it's called flooring. Now coming to the materials. How the materials are classified? Materials are classified as floor covering. Why a term covering is added? Because if you could notice, if anywhere wherever floor is there, it's like a trend which is happening, covering the floor with the mat kind of materials, or the surface of the floor is covered. That is nothing but floor covering. How it is classified? In terms of carpet, then in terms of area rugs, then next resilient flooring such as by using linoleum or vinyl flooring. Carpet, as we already know, if you can notice in many residents you find a cover like a mat kind of structure. That is nothing but a carpet. Then coming to the next, area rugs. The whole entire, if you could see the first image, the whatever the mat is used, that is nothing but area carpet, area rug. In that, in terms taking a case of basically which is used in living halls. If you could notice, in any living hall wherever you have a seating and all, a huge area is covered by using such rugs, which is nothing but a kind of carpet itself, but it's a soft carpet. But when we are only particularly studying like a carpet kind of uh, covering as a material, I can basically give you a case example of a college itself. If you see near the entrance, you can find the whole floor is covered with a different material. That is nothing but a carpet. We will study about the material in detail, but giving you a basic idea. So how the whole floor is covered, how the covering of a floor is done. In the next way, same way resilient flooring. So what are the different materials? How resilient it is? Like what are the different techniques to adapt that one? Now, coming just to the materials. What are the commonly used materials which is used in flooring? It can be either wood flooring, laminate flooring, laminated wood will be used in this flooring, ceramic tile. Ceramic tile basically we find in interior as well as exterior, whereas wood flooring we use only in interior. In the same way, laminated flooring, laminated wood is also used as a flooring, but again in interior. Ceramic tile, why it is used in, why it is used as exterior? There are certain criteria, because the outcome of the tile is very rough. So for the outdoor spaces, smooth tile doesn't work. So to resist the slippery kind of actions, ceramic kind of tiles are used. The same as stone. Stone is used both interior and exterior. But when I'm saying in terms of interior, it was used in early days. Today also we could find, but in rural areas. In the same way, terrazzoa. Then coming to the different various seamless chemical flooring, which will be like different up, updated techniques we find. in terms of many different tiles have come up in market. So there are many n number of materials which are used in flooring. In this slide, if you could observe, it's basically about the old traditional ways of flooring. If you could notice, the flooring pattern or the flooring outcome, it is very different from each image. So properly seeing towards the right side of image of the slide, you can properly segregate the outcome, the material used, the pattern in which the flooring is done, which was basically a traditional way. From seeing the way as a material, you could easily notice a cow dung, which was basically done in very olden days. Or today we could easily find in some rural areas by using either cow dung or by using mud with some other materials. Again, by using some manure, you could find how the flooring used to be done. In the same way, seeing towards the right side of the slide, you could also find proper uh, tile pattern in the flooring. Though it's not so smoothly finishing is not there, but still a kind of tile pattern is observed rather than making it randomly by using hand. In the same way, with upgrade in technology, the structure improvises, the material improvises, the technique gets improved, the social outcomes it changes. Then also economic sustenance also added as a parameter. Apart from that, if you could see the indoor and outdoor pattern, how it keeps on differing, that is also another added parameter for flooring, because basically it's a walking surface. At the end of the day, the smooth should be very friendly for a person to utilize it, either in terms of walking or in terms of a relaxing space, because floor is a space we rest, we walk, we move on. In the same way, the traditional ways, how it keeps on differing. Flooring, how it is divided. Flooring, how it is divided. Basically, flooring can be divided into hard flooring and soft flooring. From the terminology itself, you can understand what the hard flooring will be and what the soft flooring will be. But still, referring from the term like hard flooring, would easily understand how the floor hard it will be. Obviously, by the use of materials. So, it can be in terms of wood. Wood is also a hard material, so it makes a floor hard. Stone, tile, other added materials which could be metal, that is also a hard uh, material which can be added for a hard flooring. The same way for a soft flooring, if you could understand from the term soft, like which gives a smoothness to the surface. Carpet, it gives smoothness or as well as the aesthetic purpose. It looks very beautiful when you use on flooring. The same way that is nothing but the mat which we use. Carpet is nothing but what we cover the entire floor. The same way resilient flooring. Resilient flooring, it can be like the outcome of a product, either by using any natural uh, or synthetic construction, which is based on either we can use the carpet as a rubber or PVC, basically which uses different materials. It can be either a natural material or any synthetic material. In the same way, understanding how the hard flooring works. So floor made out of cement or different stones and tile items like vitrified tiles, ceramic tiles, marbles, granite, mosaic tiles, etc. So if you could realize what add to a material which gives hardness. So it can be stone. Stone is one of the hard materials. So that is used for the flooring. Tiles. If you put tiles are nothing but you find very different various different types of tiles which again are the outcomes from the stone. In marble, as it is a stone, but still the pattern or the finishing, the character, it differs. In the same way, granite. As marble and granite are shown it's affordable, no doubt, but still an alternative an alternative which gives by replacing marble and granite are these tiles, that is vitrified tiles, ceramic tiles, mosaic tiles. These are nothing but a replacement of both marble and granite. In the same way, coming to the next point, the hard floors are the floors which take more time to be installed and once installed cannot be easily removed. So once you install by using some hard materials, you cannot easily remove it out. You could notice the tiles which are properly installed by the proper technique. So it's very easy to remove. In the same way, it strongly recommends very heavy traffic area in the places of rough and rugged use. So if these are used, hard flooring are used basically where the people movement is very heavy traffic area in the sense in terms of either it can be a people movement or added parameter is the furniture placement which we could find on a floor. So to withhold the support, the flooring must be hard. The same way coming to the next. It is easy to maintain and very long lifespan it has. Generally, hard floors are installed using cement. Between the tile to cope up the output, you or to fix it, you use cement mortar, which again takes more time to cure. In the way, generally how hard floors are used. They are installed by using cement mortar as it takes very long time and also it takes more curing time because it needs to properly fix, settle down as the base has to be properly levelized and installed. In the same, the soft flooring differs. How? Basically, in the soft it should be not hard. So that is nothing but a secondary flooring which is done over a hard flooring. So the primary flooring becomes the hard flooring. So covering the hard flooring by materials, strong material by using either stone, wood, any metal in terms of tiles which can be marble, mosaic or granite. Then replacement of these marble granite are the vitrified and ceramic tiles. So the next covering or the next layer over the hard flooring is the soft flooring. How it is done. Soft flooring, which is also called as secondary flooring, but it is next to a hard flooring. What is the advantage of soft flooring? It is nothing but it can be easily and instantly fitted on any floor because before itself the flooring is very properly fixed. Finishing is done properly by using the different hard materials, so it gives a new look within few hours as the hard flooring requires time for curing because we use cement mortar for the proper fixing of the base to make it strong. In the same way, for the soft flooring, it doesn't take much time. It keeps on changing the look because based on the materials which is used. Materials in terms of synthetic and natural. In the same way, the installation is very easy. It can be easily removed. But whereas hard flooring, neither the installation is easy nor it can be removed easily. The options available in soft flooring are very wide because stone you have a color restriction. In the same way tiles you have a restriction in patterns, but when we come for soft flooring there are n number of designs, colors which can be covered over the hard flooring. In the same way, for the next, what are the types of flooring? From the words itself, from the terminologies which are used before the flooring could easily recognize mud. Flooring basically using a clay or a mud. Okay. Additional materials will be seen individually when we are studying this. Next, brick flooring which uses brick. Stone flooring again hard which uses stone. Cement concrete flooring, terrazzo or mosaic flooring, marble flooring, tile flooring, wooden flooring. So these are basic different flooring which we are going to cover as a short. But still, apart from this, there are different types of floorings which have come up, which uses a very heavy technology. But these are the basics which is used in day to day. In this slide, we will be observing how the mud flooring is done. If you could notice, proper mixing of certain different materials is used basically which we find in rural areas and village kind of structures. These are the basic base floor which is adapted in rural areas. Then coming up next, what mud flooring is. Understanding its basic, how mud flooring is adapted, where it is used, what are the elements added. Mud flooring has been the easiest form of material available for building construction. Why it is easy? Because materials are locally available. Mud is locally available in any of the areas with respect to either it can be a rural context or urban context. So mud is available easily and it has been adapted for various elements in the house in different forms. We could observe in olden days the house, there were no mosaic style of flooring, then there were no marble, granite for the flooring. So it was done out of mud. Though the finishing was not so proper, but still you could find mud flooring. In the same way, it is being adopted in villages because it is very economical. It doesn't require much of investment in that because mud is easily available and it's easy to uh, construct or maintain both. It is easy to construct or also to maintain. So uh, every certain number of years you can make it again. So the installation process is not much difficult because it's again a mixture of mud with some other materials, then just making it levelized. In the same way, up how it is used commonly in villages as it's basically available material that is nothing but mud, so we could commonly find in villages there near the agricultural land. So the basically availability of mud you could find near the agricultural land because mud, the soil is nothing which we can easily, we could easily find it anywhere. So when the availability of the soil is there, could easily make out from the mixture and make it convert it into flooring. Next, when the available soil is not so suitable enough for construction, then soil can be used by manipulating its composition by adding suitable stabilizers. So instead of just using the soil or a mud to stabilize it in terms of construction, you add certain different stabilizers and different materials are added to make it firm, to install it, to construct it because you need its maintenance. The same way, what are the stabilizers added? And why stabilizers are added? Stabilizers are added just to enhance the property of the soil. Why? It increases the tensile and the shear strength and reduces the shrinkage. If you just take a soil and plane the surface, you can find easily the cracks. The shrinking happens. But when you add some other materials, it doesn't get cracks, doesn't get shrinks. So that is reduced when the stabilizer is added. So what are the stabilizers added? Usually cement is a contemporary stabilizer because it's added, it gets added with different material. But if you see in the villages where the soil was the basic stabilizer, then what the other materials were added to enhance the property in terms of flooring. It was straw, then plant juices, molasses, cow dung, animal urine, oil, and tannic acid. So these were the basic stabilizers which was added in along with the soil. Why? Just to increase the strength of the soil, as the flooring will be very base. Next, to reduce the cracking properties. Even if you could notice now, to fix between the tiles, you use the cement as a mortar, which is a current stabilizer. But there, it was the mixture of these all materials like straw, plant juice, plant juices, then molasses, cow dung. These were the stabilizer which will give a proper strength for the soil to stand. In the same In the same way, if you could notice from the mud flooring which happens in village kind of areas or the rural areas, it basically uses straws, plant juice, which are easily available because along with As we find soil near the agricultural land definitely uses different kind of growth used to happen, different kind of agriculture, plantation used to be happen, different kinds of crops were grown, so that all crops wastage used to be taken and mixed as a stabilizer for the soil. So what advantages it gets? First thing, it is cheap because everything is easily available. No need to invest anything. It's very hard. Why? Because soil, when it can grow agriculture, then you can consider the flooring built how it can be. Then it is fairly impervious, easy to construct, easy to maintain. It will like basic property of a soil. When it is warm, it remains warm. When it when especially during winters, if you could see the soil property, it is warm in winter, then cold in summer. So you would find such houses very cold during summers, but in winters it will be very hot. The basic property of the mud. It's like inversely proportional to the temperature. In the same way, disadvantages. Disadvantage is nothing but in current era it's not used. Basically it's used only in towns, villages, which are all rural areas. In urban areas it's not used because it requires lot of maintenance. That is the another reason why it's one of the disadvantage. Not friendly. Then when it comes for resistance, there are many different criteria for not using in current era because the availability of material has changed a lot. The technology has been developed. So there are different techniques or different reasons why the mud flooring is not adapted in urban areas. In this slide, we'll look over what are the materials required for mud flooring. From all the four images, you could easily recognize or understand what are the materials. In the first thing, it's a sifted sand. It's nothing but where you find near the water banks, either near the river or any water bodies near the beaches. Such kind of sand is seen. Next, the clay, which is usually again found near the water banks for the use of potteries. The potteries are made, the different utensils are made out of it with the mud pottery. Then the cow dung, which is a product or the waste excreted or generated from the animals. The next, the straws or the chopped and the sifted straws. These are the dry tree waste which we usually find in agricultural land. So basically all these materials are locally available wherever a huge agricultural land is there, which from where you can easily get the sand from then clay, then cow dung manure, because definitely agricultural land will have animals for plowing. Then different straw like waste, which is waste dry wood uh, things, which is the output of all trees or plants during the cropping in agriculture field. Along with this also you could mix this, ram this, which makes very strong mixture for giving a flooring pattern, which is basically easy for installation. Sand, clay, then manual, which we studied just in the previous slide. So all materials are mixed, then mixed properly well, ram well, so as to get consolidated thickness of 150 mm. As we know that slab thickness is 150 mm. So the whole thickness is made for 150 mm, and whatever the materials are mixed, it is properly uh, put and levelized to the proper thickness. Then during the process, what is not added? Flatten the floor surface with trowel. Trowel is nothing but if you could notice in the image, there's a person which is using a instrument that is used to levelize the whole floor, to make the floor flat. In the same way, to maintain the mud flooring in good condition, a thin coat of cement cow dung is added once or twice a week in a proportion of 1:2. So whatever the flooring is done, the way we do as a tiling, once the flooring is done, like the base is ready, we make tile. We put tiles, then again a cement mortar fixture for properly fixing it in the same way to maintain the mud flooring as it's a mud. So you do a cowden finishing using a cowden then a cement in terms of the clay and mud which is easily available in images. So that is done like during certain number of days. After like 2 week or 3 week, the proper again the covering up or the coating is done over these surfaces. Coming next to the brick flooring, from the image you can easily understand the use of building material which is brick by the pattern they have laid. Basically, there is a distinct feature in which brick as a material is used as a paved surface. On the either side, you can see a green surface that is a landscaped area. Especially this kind of flooring is used in exterior surfaces, where like garden, parking, outside as a front of the built space. In the same way, understanding what the brick flooring is. From the big brick, the floor is completely covered with a brick, which is a building material. The flooring is done with laying bricks down in the bed of mortar and arranged in a pattern, commonly used in alluvial soil, places where stone is scarce and well-burnt bricks of good quality are readily available. If you could notice the previous image, the brick pattern was overlaid as a paved area. On the either side, you can find a landscape area which could be either a garden. As along with the paved area, it can also be used as where parking is done. So, to give a very rough texture or a rough finish, the brick flooring is done. Next, what are the advantages, disadvantages, and how construction technique is used? We'll be seeing. Bricks have been the mainstay of building construction in India since the time of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. If you could see, this is such a kind of civilization which brought up planning system in the uh, designing as a town planning. If you could see, it was the first planned civilization. So basically, the materials which were used were brick, burnt brick, especially then mud, soil, which is easily available on the river banks. Then, how the foundation was done. It has been successfully used for foundation, walls, roof, floors. Brick, the material used is brick for foundation as well as roof, walls, floor. Then, what is the main advantage of brick flooring? Because bricks to make a brick, the soil is locally available easily. So the availability of the material is very easy. That is one of the basic advantage. It's easy to construct. Then not needed a very skilled labor. So if you train any a layman, it is easily installed, easy to construct, as well as very economical. So very high investment is not required. So next, cheap construction. Then making a uh, out of good bricks, you could make any surface very rough, right? A pattern is found, especially very good bricks will be available. Then this flooring is specially suited to warehouse, stores, godown. So why warehouse, stores and godowns? Because here a very heavy traffic movement happens with respect to vehicles as well as people, which requires a very strong floor. So brick is one of the very hard flooring which is basically used in warehouses because many different kind of materials are dumped, different products are dumped in warehouses, stores, godowns. So the movement of trucks like heavy vehicles, it is very feasible. In the same way, 10 to 15 centimeter thick of lean cement concrete or lime concrete is laid. So coming to the thickness, as a slab thickness 150 mm, which is nothing but 15 centimeter. So that is the thickness of flooring. This forms the base course over which bricks are laid flat on 12 mm thick mortar bed in such a way that all the joints are full of mortar. So directly the brick is not placed wherever you need to do a flooring. A proper mortar bed is prepared, then the bricks are overlaid. So the mortar thickness which is overlaid is around 12 mm. By giving a proper level, by flattening the surface, by using the cement mortar, a level is done. For that the brick is added. It can be any, not only brick. If you are going for stone flooring, even the stones can be added. In case if you are going for tile flooring, a mortar bed is mandatorily laid. The flooring is done with laying bricks down in the bed of mortar and arranged in a pattern. So as you might have been studied previously, the different patterns which are done from brick. So such kind of arrangement can be used for the pattern in making the flooring on exterior surfaces, especially the outdoor surfaces, commonly used in alluvial places where the stone is scarce and well built. The next, these are the different patterns of brick flooring. So you might have studied in the previous the different bonds of brick. The running bond, which is like it is running in series. But if you go for the next level, you can see the one brick is laid between two bricks to get the proper support. In the next image, same herringbone. If you the such kind of pattern is basically used as an interlocking system for parking areas. That these are the pattern or the hash patterns basically which indicates the brick. And if you could see these patterns, these are particular kind of bonding which is made out of brick for flooring. In the same way, next basket weaving bond. If you could see the pattern is similarly which you find on you, basket which is a bag, right? In the same way, next running annexed the stack MD, then stack bond, pinwheel. Along with that, you might have learnt about the English bond, French bond, queen, king. So these are the different bonds. The one which is shown, these are flooring. The one I said just now, like a king, queen, those are for the walls. In the same way, going for the next, how the patterns are exactly seen as a real images. First one basically which we used for outdoor spaces. The next where the main entrance porch will be there, that is promenade, then running bond in the rooms and all, then pinwheel, like as a wheel how it moves. These are the basic. Coming next to the characteristics. So what are the characteristics of flooring in terms of brick as a material when it is laid over floor? Basically, which if you could see in the below image, you can see a mortar bed over with the brick different kind pattern is overlaid. The first pattern you could see, the another one herringbone, then this is basket weaving kind. What are the basic characteristics? No maintenance is required. The next, durability is one of the main factor because brick is one of the hardest material and it's durable for flooring. Then it requires very less maintenance. The installation is very easy. From the below images, you can easily see different patterns which brings different aesthetic look or different outcome for the flooring. Now brick usually now it has reduced using brick in an interior surfaces. What the brick pattern is it usually comes out in as a carpet kind of finishing which is done. Now the different patterns it is used as flooring as well as a wall construction technique. In the same way, it also comes for the compound wall design. This such different kind of patterns you find, or else as the aesthetic purpose on the elevation part of view. These patterns of brick are turned into tiles, which we usually see in any exterior surfaces. Next slide, we are going to see how it comes. What are the properties? If you could see, those are not exactly brick, but a carpet or a texture which comes out for the flooring. What are the properties? for using brick flooring different patterns on porch. Porch is nothing but the entrance area where you park your vehicles, where you have a proper entrance space for your residence or any commercial structure. Then coming to the properties: color, texture, heat, sleep resistance, hardness, replacement weight. So if you see in brick flooring pattern, you find a varied color. The one color which is standard, red burnt brick. In the similar way, if you convert those as artificial, you get many different varieties of colors. As a carpet, which is again a soft flooring, converting the hard flooring into a soft flooring. So different colors you get. Texture. Texture is very rough, so that's one of the good property. Then it resists the heat. Then it's not slippery because the texture is very rough. So bricks are not slippery as a tiles. Then the surface is very hard. The replacement can be done very easily, but by using different techniques. In the same way, its weight very heavy. In the same way, what are the basic sizes which you already might be knowing. So the brick sizes which keeps on varying from 40 mm to 100 mm. So based on the area where you use the brick, even that keeps on varying. In domestic purpose, it keeps on varying. Where if we are going for the road construction, the brick thickness varying because it is easily manufactured. It's very easy to give in any shape. Fine. Airport, then ports, because these are one of the hardest material for the flooring and very rough. Absorbs water easily. Like the tiles, it doesn't absorb water easily. So the brick kind of material is very rare to be seen in interior spaces, but on the same hand, you can see a very huge amount of exposure in the outdoor spaces. As I said, like as a paving, then near the entrance porch, then in the gardens you can see, parks you can see, wherever the parking area is there you can see. It is used very heavily where you have airports as a paved area in front of the airports, then road construction. These are all areas where you can see the brick paving as a flooring. Then in the same way the size keeps on changing. For the domestic, the thickness will start from 50 to 60 mm. Then for the road construction it is 80 mm. Airports, freight yards, uh, and the ports where the ships and all will be there. So the thickness goes till 100 mm thick. In this slide, you see how brick flooring is done in outdoor areas with different cases. Considering from the smaller scale as a residence front porch or in the lawn area to a larger scale which is a public area, that is a garden. So in this, the traffic area with respect to people, that is human footprint or human footfall, is very high, especially in the parks, gardens and all. So you could see the coverage of a brick flooring as well as the surrounding green space, the ratio how the landscape, that is greenery, is there in between where the brick flooring is laid. And similarly, in the next image, if you could see the front porch, the front uh, the space of any build, either it can be residence or any building, a proper flooring is done. Why? Because so that it should be resistant in terms of uh, heat. Other than that, maintenance is required very less. The surface is very rough. That these are the these are some factors which keeps the flooring very easy and it's locally available. Then next in below image, if you could see the technique or the pattern they have done in a lawn. Usually, it can be open outdoor area or a lawn kind of space within a home or like a resort kind of space where only a portion of area is done or paved or covered with brick flooring and furnitures are kept to have a proper different activities in terms of dining or any activity as a sit out get together. So basically you can observe a flooring pattern which was used in traditional era by the usage of cow dung to today, how the transformation happened, how the transition took over a period of time from a outcome product of a animal cow dung to a completely chemicalized based material which uses tile, but the function is still same, used for the walking surface. So these are few brief things which is done on flooring. Thank you.